All right, so get ready, because today we're diving into a world that's honestly way cooler than it sounds. Plant nutrition.
Yeah, we kind of take it for granted, the food on our plates.
Totally.
But have you ever stopped to think about how plants actually make that food? It's like magic, but with, science.
It's true. We're going full seventh grade science class today, using a classic textbook as our guide. But trust me, we're going to uncover the really cool stuff, the stuff they don't have time to tell you in school.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, did you know that plant cells are basically like these tiny factories? And I mean, way more complex than anything humans have come up with.
And these little factories are constantly churning out the ingredients for life. I mean, think about it. We need to eat constantly to fuel our bodies. But plants, they make their own food from scratch.
It's mind-blowing. Like, I can barely make toast without burning it. So why are humans stuck on this whole eating all the time thing while plants have it so easy?
Well, our bodies are really complex machines. Every thought, every movement, even every dream needs a ton of energy and building blocks. That's where carbohydrates, proteins, fats, vitamins, minerals, all that comes in.
Right. Makes sense.
And we get those nutrients from, well, eating, and ultimately that energy can be traced all the way back to plants.
Okay, so plants are the real MVPs here. But let's go back to that word from biology class, photosynthesis. What's actually happening there? What makes it so important?
Photosynthesis is basically how plants use sunlight to make their food. Think of it like their superpower. They've got this pigment, chlorophyll, which is mostly in their leaves, and it acts kind of like a solar panel, capturing energy from the sun.
So leaves are like tiny solar panels. That's amazing.
Exactly. Then they take that energy, combine it with carbon dioxide from the air and water from the soil, and boom, they produce carbohydrates, which is basically their food.
Wow. Okay. So seriously, life on Earth wouldn't exist without photosynthesis. That seems like a lot is riding on these plants.
It is. Without plants, no forests, no flowers, no fields of, well, anything, really. It'd be a pretty bleak picture. No plants, no food for herbivores, and then carnivores would disappear too. And let's not forget about oxygen, which we kind of need to, breathe.
Wow, I never thought about it like that. But hold on, because the textbook also mentions that not all plants are content with just sunshine and air.
Ah, yes.
Things are about to get a little more ahead. Interesting.
Here come the rule breakers.
Plant drama. This is where it gets good. Tell me more. Okay, plant parasites. That sounds like something straight out of a sci-fi movie. What are we talking about here exactly?
Well, the textbook mentions Cuscuta, which is also known as dodder. It's that plant that looks like a tangled mess of orange or yellow spaghetti.
Okay, yeah, I've seen that. It's kind of creepy looking.
Yeah, and it's basically a thief. It latches onto other plants and steals their nutrients.
No way. So it's like a plant vampire.
Yeah.
But instead of blood, it's after, like sap.
Exactly. Cuscuta doesn't have chlorophyll, so it can't make its own food through photosynthesis. So instead, it wraps itself around a host plant and uses these things called haustoria, which are like little straws, to suck up sugars and water.
Wow. Ruthless. The book even has a picture. It's like a horror movie waiting to happen. Okay, so parasites, that's wild. But then there are plants that take it a step further, right? Plants that eat animals.
Oh, yeah, the carnivorous plants.
This is where it gets really interesting.
Right. They've developed some crazy adaptations to supplement their diet, especially in places where the soil doesn't have all the nutrients they need.
Okay, I have to know more. What about pitcher plants? The book mentions those. How do those work?
So picture this. A pitcher plant has a leaf that looks like, well, a pitcher, and it's filled with rainwater and digestive enzymes. Plus, the inside is super slippery.
Okay.
And insects are lured in by the plant's bright colors and sweet nectar. But once they step on the rim of the pitcher, whoosh, down they go.
It's like a trapdoor.
Exactly. They can't climb back out, and they end up, well, digested.
That's incredible, and also kind of gruesome. So nature is full of surprises. But what happens after the plant has its meal? What about all the leftovers?
That's where fungi come in. They're the cleanup crew of the ecosystem.
Fungi, like mushrooms.
Yeah, they might not be as exciting as carnivorous plants, but they're super important for breaking down organic matter and recycling nutrients.
So they're like the recyclers of the natural world.
Exactly. And remember that bread mold experiment from the textbook?
Oh yeah, you leave a piece of bread out and it gets all fuzzy.
Right. That's fungi at work, breaking down that bread into simpler molecules.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. So it's not just going bad, it's being decomposed. That's amazing. So much is happening right under our noses, or I guess under our feet. But the textbook also mentions something about symbiosis between plants and bacteria. What is that? What's going on there? Symbiosis, huh? Sounds kind of like teamwork in the plant world. What's the deal with this plant-bacteria alliance?
It's all about cooperation, really. The textbook uses the example of rhizobium bacteria and legumes. Plants like beans and peas.
Okay, yeah, so they have a special partnership.
Yeah, it actually benefits both of them.
Cool. A win-win. But what's so special about these rhizobium bacteria?
Well, legume plants need nitrogen to grow, but they can't just pull it straight from the air, and the air is full of nitrogen.
Right.
And that's where our rhizobium friends come in. They can convert that atmospheric nitrogen into something usable for plants.
So it's like the bacteria, like personal chefs or something, transforming something the plants can't use into, plant food.
Exactly.
But what's in it for the bacteria? What do they get out of this deal?
A place to live, basically. The legumes provide little nodules on their roots where the bacteria can hang out. It's like free rent, plus a steady supply of sugars from the plant's photosynthesis.
Talk about a sweet deal. So it's a true symbiotic relationship. Everyone wins. But didn't the textbook say something about farmers using this too?
Oh, absolutely. Farmers have known about this for a long time. They use crop rotation, planting legumes like beans or clover one season, which adds nitrogen to the soil, and then they plant other crops that need that nitrogen boost the next season.
Wow, that's so smart. So by understanding how these plants and bacteria work together, we can actually grow food more sustainably. That's amazing. I got to admit, when we started this deep dive on plant nutrition, I thought it was going to be all about photosynthesis and dirt. But it turns out there's a lot more to it.
Or it's a whole hidden world, right? It's amazing what's happening right under our feet.
It really makes you appreciate the power of nature. So next time you see a plant, think about everything it's doing. Capturing sunlight, producing oxygen, maybe even teaming up with some microscopic buddies. It's pretty incredible. So for our listeners, here's something to think about. We've seen how plants can make food from sunlight, fungi can break down waste, and these amazing partnerships can help things grow. Could we use these processes to create a better food system for everyone? It's definitely something to consider. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the incredible world of plant nutrition. We'll see you next time.